You mentioned about the being in sort of social housing for about 15 years or so. So probably part of your business is retrofit of existing building and also new build. Is it?
That's right. I mean, the world of social housing. If you were to look at one of our board reports, which we publish every month, you would see ostensibly we divide the business up into a number of revenue streams. And our principal revenue streams are planned maintenance. Now, the lion's share of that in the last 10 years has been what's called the decent homes work, which is new kitchens and bathrooms and the like for the existing housing stock in the UK. Clearly, we do new build as well. And we're geared up for that. Being a construction company, as you can imagine, we're not probably best suited to building huge sort of monoculture housing developments, but the more complicated mixed-use developments, housing schemes that have flats, have retail, have all sorts, we are absolute specialists in. And then finally, the third revenue stream in the business is the development. So we find land, we buy land for housing associations and produce schemes for them, sort of back to back, as it's known in the industry.
No, I mean that's impressive, the sort of diversity that you've got as a company, and probably with that sort of overview of the whole industry. If we're thinking about reduction of carbon, then clearly, do you see areas across the business where there's need for more focus?
Very, very definitely, and probably one of the reasons I'm sitting in front of you today, as opposed to any of my other colleagues from any of the other companies within the Midas group, is that in my space we are dancing to the tune that is played by the housing association and local authority sector. And the reason that's important is that some years back the government decided that the local authority and housing association stock was going to be the stalking horse for sustainable construction. Now, the reason being is that affordable housing gets a lot of grant from government, and obviously government can tie stipulations to that money. And one of those stipulations was that we had to be the guinea pigs for the Code for Sustainable Homes. Now, the Code for Sustainable Homes, and I am a code assessor, but I'm not going to bore you with the details, ostensibly is a measurement tool for measuring the efficiency, for want of a better word, of a house, of a home. And it runs from Code 1 up to Code 6. Now, Code 6 is zero carbon. In other words, a house that you do not need to plug into the national grid. It creates and makes its own energy. And there are very few of those standing in the UK, but we'll come on to a little bit about that a bit later. The current mandatory level is Code 3. That's the equivalent of 25% more efficient than building standards, which is to say the homes that you and I live in. And Code 4 is about to become mandatory in April of 2011. April 2010, next year.
For social housing?
For all social and local authority housing, yeah. So that requires a great deal of Code 4 in particular is a bit of a jump from Code 3. All of a sudden, in Code 4, you have to start introducing renewable energy. Between 10 and 15% of the building's energy has to be supplied by the building itself. So it's going to be a very interesting time over the course of the next few years, because all of a sudden new social housing will have PV or solar thermal or wind turbines, on the premises, and that's going to be people are going to notice that.